Gotham City has a problem, a persistent, colorful problem. While most cities in the world might worry about rising crime rates or the occasional notorious gangster, Gotham's issues are a little more thematic. This is the only place, after all, where the biggest threats don't just loot, they monologue, don't just burgle. They wear tailored costumes and devise elaborate puzzles. This is the world of Batman's Rogues Gallery. Over the decades, Batman has built one of the most iconic lists of adversaries in comic book history. What sets them apart isn't simply their villainy, but their strange mix of humor, horror, and heartache. First up, there's the Clown Prince himself, the Joker, a sadistic, cackling enigma. He has no real origin story, at least not a verified one. Sometimes he's a mobster who fell into a vat of chemicals, other times a failed comedian. But always, he's chaos personified. His plans don't always make sense, and they're not always logical. They're about proving a point, usually that deep down everyone's as crazy as he is. The Joker is Batman's reflection in a cracked funhouse mirror, unpredictable, theatrical, and obsessed. But not all of Gotham's threats laugh. Next, there's Two Face. Once Harvey Dent, Gotham's district attorney, he was a force for order, a living embodiment of justice. One act of violence, one splash of acid, and the symmetry was broken.
Ow.
Every decision is left to a coin flip. He's torn between light and dark, fairness and cruelty, a tragic villain. Really? His crimes are often carefully orchestrated, but always subject to the mercies of fate. Sometimes villainy arrives with a theme. Let's take the Riddler word enigma, compulsively clever. He's less about violence and more about the puzzle. To him, outsmarting Batman is the real prize. His crimes usually come with labyrinthine clues and elaborate riddles. It's not about money, it's about the game. But even the smartest mind in the room sometimes wants recognition, and riddles unappreciated turn bitter. If you want tragic, look no further than Mr. Freeze. Originally, Victor Fries, a brilliant scientist turned icy outcast. All he wanted was to save his wife Nora, frozen in stasis due to a rare disease. But when corporate greed destroyed his hope, he turned cold, literally and figuratively. Freeze is singular among the rogues. He commits crimes, not for gain, but for impossible love, driven by a heart forever out of reach. Not all Batman's foes are outcasts, though. Some were born into the upper crust. Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, is Gotham's tuxedoed underworld mogul. Doesn't need to rob banks himself. He runs them behind the scenes. His weapon of choice? Not a gun or knife, but information. He's a socialite with a network of spies and a fondness for birds, umbrellas, and the trappings of old money. For him, crime is simply business. Then there's Catwoman Zelina Kyle, sometimes foe, sometimes friend, sometimes love interest. She's a thief, sure, but not just for self-indulgence. She's a symbol of independence, a woman with her own agenda. Her games with Batman aren't always about jewels. They're about trust, flirtation, and the blurred line between right and wrong. Of course, not everyone in Gotham is subtle. Bane, for example, is a force of pure, calculated brutality, the man who broke the bat. But Bane is more than muscle. He's a strategist, growing up in a brutal prison and molding himself into a living weapon. He sees Batman not only as a rival, but as a test, a challenge to be overcome with mind and body. Sometimes the city is threatened by horror incarnate. Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, is a former psychologist who specializes in fear. Using his own toxins, he turns even the bravest into quivering wrecks. To him, fear isn't just a tool, it's a philosophy. He exposes the secret terrors that live in everyone's heart, and in Gotham, that's a long list. Yet, for each of these villains, there's an undercurrent of sense. They're not just supercriminals, but broken people. Some want revenge, others recognition. Some seek love, others chaos. For all their crimes, most didn't set out to be monsters. Circumstance, misfortune, and obsession shaped them. Arguably, Batman himself is the common denominator. His mission inspires them, angers them, even completes them. They dress up for him, challenge him, and force him to confront the extremes of his own crusade. So why is Batman's Rogues Gallery so enduring? It's because they're more than just obstacles. They're mirrors reflecting everything Batman fights against, sometimes everything he could become. In a city of shadows, the line between hero and villain is razor thin. And Gotham's rogues serve as constant reminders. Deep down, everyone could take one bad day and fall. In the end, that's what makes Batman's gallery of foes unforgettable. Their battles are as much about masks, trauma, and identity as they are about crime and capes. And in Gotham, the fight never ends.